This is about you,
6, 5,
your fire,
2, 1.
and your liftoff,
Liftoff of Space Shuttle and
your drive,
Mission build, resupply,
and your dream. By the end of this video, you will know the levers for a powerful launch and have the keys to make your goal a reality. Are you ready for liftoff? Let's fuel the fire. Just for context, this video is one in a series of 6 about the so-called high-performance habits. These are the habits with the highest impact in terms of long-term success, well-being, and healthy relationships. This video here is about how to raise the necessity to perform, or with other words, how to fuel the inner fire. Why is this topic important to me? I lost a job a few years ago, a job that I loved at Google in the context of a restructuring program. And I know from personal experience what it means to fuel the inner fire. At least I know now what works, and I'm happy to share it with you. So it's a mix of personal and high-performance best practices. Let's dive in. This video has 2 parts. Part 1 is how to fuel the inner fire, and part 2 is how to follow through. To fuel our inner fire, we need 3 things. We need clarity about what we want. Then we need habits, respectively practices and routines to help us get there. They're kind of the guardrails. And we need the energy to make it happen. So let's start with the energy. So the first lever before liftoff is to activate our energy sources. Our mind, respectively our mental energy, can be an absolute superpower if we know how to use it and how to train it. What you see here, the boxes meditation, mindfulness, as well as mindset, these are all different dimensions of our mind. If we want to train it, the best thing is to learn it from those who really master it, from those who are world-class in that space, or who are world-class in your area of expertise that are relevant to you. 2 people I love to learn from are the following. The first one is the person you see here. This is Thich Nhat Hanh. He is a Zen master. He was nominated in the 60s by Martin Luther King for the Peace Nobel Prize, and he is especially known for his teachings around mindfulness. And of course, it goes hand in hand also closely related meditation practices. And the next person is the one you see here on the right. This is Brendon Burchard. I had the opportunity to meet him a year ago. Brendon, he is a New York Times best-selling author, as well as the founder of the High Performance Institute, the founder of Growth Day, and some other companies. For me, he's a fantastic role model in terms of mindset, but also in terms of business, especially online business. The first source is meditation. Meditation is a practice of focusing our mind, and it helps us cultivate clarity and calm. If you want to apply it, one simple way, the way I do it as an example, is I integrate it as part of my morning routine, and I meditate for 10 minutes in the morning. If you have no meditation experience and you want to try it, then I would recommend you to watch the video with the name Breathe from Thich Nhat Hanh, that's the Zen master. He explained in his own words, in a very, very simple way, how you can do it. What makes meditation easy for me is to simply focusing on our breathing. We just let it breathe. We must not actively breathe because it luckily happens automatically. So we just observe our breathing, we relax, and we enjoy a moment of calm. That's it. The second source is mindfulness, which is a practice of awareness. It's about being aware what is going on in the present moment, inside of us and around us. It helps us gain more clarity, to care better for ourselves as well as for others, and it also helps us to take better decisions. Basically, mindfulness means to be aware of the present moment without judging. That's a core element of mindfulness. If you want to hear Thich Nhat Hanh explain it in his own words, watch the video The Art of Living. I think it's just 4 minutes, and he explains what it means. And the third source is mindset. Our mindset is a mental framework. It's our attitude, and we can consciously choose it. As an example, whether we only see the problem and the drama, or whether we have a rather solution-oriented, problem-solving oriented approach, that's a question of mindset. So you could ask yourself, what kind of thought would be helpful in your situation? What would help you? I'd encourage you to write it down and put it on a piece of paper and maybe stick it to your mirror or send a reminder to you by phone or an alarm. That's a concrete possibility of what you could do. The next area are our physical energy sources like rest, nutrition, and exercise. If we talk about rest, two things are key. That we make sure, based on 50 years of sleep research, that we have 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Not only it gives us a good feeling of freshness in the morning, but also increases our productivity by 30%. I mean, both topics, sleep and break, are nothing revolutionary, but they are absolutely fundamental to maintain a high energy level throughout the day. If we talk about breaks, it's simply important that we set an alarm every 50 minutes approximately, and that we drink some water, get up, move a bit, that we refresh ourselves, maybe walk around the block and continue working. It's both is free of charge, and it is so crucial for a good energy level. The next point, no need to say, healthy nutrition is important. To me personally, nutrition is not only energy, it's also a source of joy. What matters is, of course, a balanced nutrition. Best advice would be to see a nutritionist for a personal plan and maybe for a food test. Some people have intolerances that they are not aware of, so that might be meaningful. Or a very simple rule of thumb that I apply in my life and it works, and it is approved by nutritionists, is this plate that you see here. Whenever you have a plate in front of you and you can choose what's on your plate, make sure that 50% is vegetables or fruits, 25% proteins, and 25% approximately carbohydrate. I love that rule of thumb because it is so simple and it helps me to nurture myself in a healthy way. The third topic, exercise. Best is to have a professional advice in a gym for a personal plan. It is best practice to train 2 or 3 times a week at least, and to train both strength and endurance. But of course also mobility matters. What is useful is to make sure that you move every day 30 minutes at least, can be even just a walk. That's the absolute bare minimum. But if you want to be really fit, it's unavoidable to go to the gym as well. And the third area is about our emotional energy. It's just one box here and it's written schedule joy, but it is so important. This box should be bigger. Many people just see their duties and are just working and working without any breaks. But what is really absolutely crucial is to remind yourself to schedule joy. So the best practice would be that every time you plan your week or you plan your month, that you always remember to also schedule what brings you joy, things that you love. The human is a social animal. It's important that we see family or that we see some friends, or that we can do stuff that we love. It helps us for our emotional balance. The way we behave in the first hour of the day has an impact on the entire 24 hours. How exactly? According to neuroscientists from Standford, I put a video link in the description, already 5 to 10 minutes of daylight in the morning, as early as possible, as said, in the first hour, that we absorb through our skin and our eyes, which has a high impact on how awake we feel, as well as on our quality of sleep. So the recommendation here would be build your own morning routine. See it like a Lego play. Try out different elements. Don't overload it, but what matters is that you do it for at least 21 days. It is said that if we do something repeatedly for at least 3 weeks, it gets ingrained in us so that you can form a habit. So what's the nutshell takeaway here if we look at these 8 sources? It's 2 things. Number 1, build yourself habits and practices that consistently fuel you with energy. And the second thing is identify what drains your energy and avoid or reduce it. With that, you build a robust energy foundation. And the second lever to fuel our fire is to clarify what we want. Respectively, with that, we clarify our direction. To me, after I had lost my job, I did not know exactly what I would do next as a job. What I knew is that I wanted to reset, refocus, and then restart something new. It was an entire discovery journey. What helped me was to take action, which on the one hand meant scanning the job market, and in parallel, I wanted to upskill. I wanted to upskill in areas that I loved, that I really felt passionate about. And that was AI, circular economy, as well as high performance coaching. In all of these areas, I upskilled. And I strongly felt the spark when I did the high performance coaching certification. When I say gaining clarity about what matters to us, I mean three areas. Gaining clarity about what drives us emotionally, but also to gain clarity about our mission, as well as having a clear goal that is related. If the three of them, something we feel truly passionate about, aligns with something that is important to us, that matters to us, and a clear goal, that's how you create a very powerful fire. Clarifying our mission basically means the question, what matters to us mostly in life? But also, how can we serve? What value can we add in whatever our domain is? These are the two fundamental questions. But also when we think about our mission, we should see at our life's clues and see what we can learn from them. Moreover, it is important that we look at our competencies. What are we experienced in? What are our capabilities? But also, what are our dreams? What are our priorities? These questions, they really matter to determine our mission. And then it's important that we gain clarity about our inner fire, respectively our emotional drivers. Essentially, there are four drivers that have a very high impact on our performance. The first area that massively fuels our fire is our identity, how we see ourselves, our beliefs. If you are someone who says, I'm someone who walks the talk, likelihood is really very high that you walk the talk. If you are someone who says, I want to be proud when I look in the mirror, that fuels a different energy than not having such an ambition. The interesting thing about identity is we can consciously choose our own standards and we can grow into that. The second area is our passion, respectively our deep interest, or we could even say obsession. High performance, respectively high performers, very often they are totally obsessed of their topic. An additional factor that massively influences our behavior is our obligations, our duties. Such duties can be obligations that we feel towards our children, or to serve for our country, or it could be financial obligations, or contractual work-related obligations. Important is that we are aware of them and that we leverage them, that we write it down to fuel our emotional drive. And ultimately, deadlines fuel our fire additionally. I have seen a story of a guy from LA. He was in his early 20s. He was overweight, had a difficult childhood, and I've seen a documentary about the Navy SEALs. He totally caught fire about the idea of becoming a Navy SEAL. But the problem was, 3 months later, there was the assessment center to start the preparation training, and he had to lose more than 100 pounds within that time frame. But that's another example of catching fire for an idea, having a mission to serve the country, and the ambition to look into the mirror and be proud of himself. That fueled such a massive fire in him that he lost 106 pounds in 3 months, and today he's a legend. If the three areas align, they can build a massive fire and lead to massive success. And lastly, we need a clear goal. We have to sit down, respond to questions I just mentioned before, get clear about it, and commit to it, and assign a deadline or a timeline to it. An Olympic athlete was asked what he did, how he could motivate himself to train so hard over such a long time. And he said the day he started to shout his goals from the rooftop, that's when the extra turbo kicked in. What you now need is a moment of calm, a pen, and a piece of paper. I put together a questionnaire for you. in these three areas: drivers, mission, goals. And there is a link in the description. You can download it for free. It's an editable PDF file. So once you gained clarity, it's about to lift off, respectively, to take action and to build momentum. How can we build momentum, respectively? How does motivation work? Let me explain the motivation flywheel that is shown here on the left side. We first take action. With every action, we progress, and then we reward the effort that we have taken. And like that, motivation builds up. Repeat. Of course, it makes sense after each step to check whether it worked or not, or what we can learn from it so that we can correct if something did not work. For your journey, remember these three things. Number one, good is better than perfect, unless you are a watchmaker. Number two, don't chase all ideas at once. Choose one path and take one action. And number three, don't wait for perfect clarity or the perfect idea. Clarity comes also by taking action. Now that we fueled our inner fire, the more important part begins: how to develop the grit to follow through. To build the grit, two things are key: our habits, practices, and routines. And the second key is to build resilience. And now comes the most important part: the daily execution of the so-called high-performance habits that you see here. That's what brings long-term success. They are repeatable, sustainable, and based on the world's largest high-performance study, proven to work. Now, I'm pretty sure you ask yourself, what's the difference between habits, practices, and routines? Let me explain, it's not difficult. Habits are repeated, nearly automatic actions, such as brushing your teeth. Practices, on the other side, require a deliberate effort to grow, such as learning a new skill or learning to play an instrument. And routines, they create order. It's a sequence of actions, such as, for example, morning routines, which might have the components to move 10 minutes, to stretch 10 minutes, and 10 minutes of meditation. So my recommendation to you is learn to apply the high-performance habits and integrate them in your life. Apply them daily so that they are for you as natural as brushing your teeth. And I'd recommend you to watch the videos that I created about each of these habits so that you can already start. I'd also like to present you 4 instruments that will help you follow through. Number one is the so-called Friday finishers. The Friday finishers are results that you commit to yourself when you plan the week ahead. As an example, if you plan your next week on a Friday afternoon, you could do an entry in your calendar for the Friday next week, and you consciously write down the 3 most important results you are going to achieve next week. That's what is called Friday finishers. The second instrument, very simple but super impactful, is to do every day the most important thing until 1 o'clock, until 1 p.m. by one person. That's why it's called Done by One. The third instrument, as already explained, a morning routine. It increases our energy and motivation for the entire day. As said, the recommendation is to do it for 21 days, and that you make sure that you have every day 5 to 10 minutes of daylight in the first hour after getting up. And the last thing is a weekly growth review. It simply means looking back at the week, see whether you have achieved the commitments that you wanted to achieve, and see what worked, what did not work, what can you improve, what can you learn. That's a weekly review. If there is only one thing that you take away for your life here, is to make sure that you monitor your progress. A goal without progress monitoring is just a wish. A last idea for you to help you build the grit needed to achieve your goals could be the so-called Growth Day app. It's an app that I use for years. It was developed by Brendan Burchard, the guy I showed you, and he, as one of the most successful motivational speakers in the world, every day he speaks so-called daily fire. Takes just 10 minutes. It's something you might hear for breakfast every day. It's amazing. I really love it. It's not free, it costs something, but there is a link in the description for a 1-week free trial. And the last element that helps us reach our goals is to strengthen our resilience. Life has its ups and downs. There is sometimes light, there is sometimes shadow, such as the person here on this picture. But the question is, how can we see the light in moments of darkness or challenges? The instrument is the so-called cookie jar method. How does it work? The Navy SEAL, from whom I've learned this method, he used the cookie jar as follows. He participated in an ultramarathon. That's a 100-mile race, 4 marathons in a row, and he was not trained for that. After 70 kilometers, he was destroyed. He had even, I think, broken a bone in his foot. He sat down in that moment and he remembered the cookie jar, and he decided to take one cookie to give him energy. It gave him the mental power to stand up and to finish the race. So what is this cookie jar? What's inside? Each cookie is one success or one obstacle that you have overcome in your life that you are proud of. So it is important that you take yourself a few minutes to sit down and think about what are all the things that you are proud you have achieved. It can be small things, and remember how you felt in that situation. And why don't you put them in a box for you to remember? I love it because it's so simple and it really works. If by now you have plenty of ideas and ask yourself, how can I get all that done? Then I'd recommend you to watch this video here about how to increase your productivity. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and send the video to a friend who might need a little extra perspective and motivation. I wish you clarity, a powerful lift off, and I look forward to see you again.